Hello everybody, welcome to the second video of Monday, then maybe a third video if something happens with Kabam and the game breaks and I need to cover something, or you know, there's something kind of breaking news type thing. But apart from that, I wanted to do a video last week, but I decided, you know, let's kind of like wait a little bit and have a look at like how this pans out. What was it called? Expert Proving Grounds. Yes, the Expert Proving Grounds. If you're not familiar in game with this, and some people will, some won't be, and you might choose to get your tier 4 basic fragments elsewhere, and that's fine. But this just looks, I want to look at the value of this particular Expert Proving Grounds. I've done some videos on the past on this particular topic, and in particular looking at is like, is it actually worth it for the amount of energy that you spend, especially with it being 2 energy per tile and an autocomplete function of like 50, is that going to be something seen as value? Now, the reason I bring this up as a discussion point and want to have a look at the value is to look at the changes Kabam have made, because Kabam actually have made some changes to this, especially if you've seen the in-game message. Did you see it? No. Did you kind of just go and just move on? You may have done, but yeah, there's an update that was announced by Kabam, which is, as I say, continue on from our update to Class Catalyst. By the way, the Catalyst Clash, I think it is. We'll have a look at it in a second. That's one of my favorites, right? The ISO one, ISO Fields is ass. It's terrible. It's one of the worst. But yeah, they've kind of added in a change to the expert difficulty of the Proving Grounds, and the update reduces fights per path, removes the center path, most node buffs, and chests. So it makes it more of a streamlined process on this. As I say, but will reward substantially increased tier 4 basic fragments over 3 times as much as previous formats than autocomplete, blah blah blah. But also says that there's going to be some new additions to the daily quest family in the coming months. Now, I would love to see a tier 2 alpha, a tier 5 basic, and a tier 1 alpha grind type proving ground. And I think that's one thing that would be great for this game, to kind of add those in. There's still a big talk of whether or not having a tier 5 basic arena would be kind of a good thing to add in, or change the basic fragment arena, or tier 4 basic, whatever, to being something like, yeah, a basic fragment arena, and just like add in a new one that's kind of got tier 5, tier 4 basic in. Because let's face it, Kabam aren't going to add in tier 6. That's too much of a premium, unless they add a small increment in. So, you know, who's hope? And same thing with tier 2 alpha and tier 1 alpha and the alpha arena. So it would be kind of good to add that, or add in some sort of proving ground that added in some of these kind of like extra things to get tier 5 I mean, it seems like the perfect time to add in tier 5 basic. I mean, we've kind of like evolved as much to kind of like go, we should get it. And as well, this should be available for those that are uncollected and upwards. I'm sure, again, people will kind of disagree on that one, but I kind of feel that we're in a point with the game when it comes to getting new players, because it's another key thing. We need to stimulate new players coming to the game, but also new players that are able to expand rosters, expand rank ups by going to somewhere else where they're like, well, I've run out of energy, I don't want to feel forced to do today, I don't want to do story mode, I don't want to do variants. I instead want to do something else that's kind of like a little bit kind of a lower end grind with my energy. This could be an option for that, but that's another story for another video. In any case, moving on. Expert Proving Grounds. Now, yeah, I've done a video back on this in, I think, 2019, when the first changes in Expert came in, and I did kind of let people know that it was terrible. It wasn't in a good place, and as well, the energy cost was something that was just so obscene, especially in the current climate of the game. Regardless if you had to summon a sigil, it's kind of like refreshing in a quick basis. But in any case, we need to move on. Tier 4 basic fragments, for me, or getting tier 4 basics, all about going to the glory store, just because being Thronebreaker, there's a low enough spend in order to grab something relatively good. Or I'll do stuff like, I don't know, if I'm really not desperate, but I would go to the side quest and pick up some fragments from side quest. Because there's always a lot on offer from doing side quest based grinding on a monthly basis, or let's face it, a lot of us will go to our AQ map crystals and go, oh, I'll just go because I got a lot of them and I'm going to pop a lot of them open and whatever, and I should get a load of them, and you might do, and that's great. You know, you get some good stuff from that, so that's where people go. So would you consider a quest? There may be some out there that would. But I think a lot of people would be interested with the autocomplete. Thumbs up, okay. But the autocomplete, I think sometimes the energy spend doesn't work out. I think it works out as a little bit more expensive than... and look, if you're free to play and you don't have to summon a sigil, and you don't want to use energy refills, it's going to be important where you spend your energy to what you're getting back from it. Whether or not you're like me, I like to auto fight through a lot of lower difficulties in the event quest to get units, or I'll go to lower content in order to grab things like revives, health potions, and energy refills from doing that. So my energy spend is more specifically focused on those different areas in order to maximize what I take home from it. But then that may be very different for someone that's a lot lower than me and kind of looking at what they're looking to grab from this. And Kabam's changes as well to the type of champion's strength has gone down. I mean, the reason that they say that the recommended levels, recommended team rating 11,250 is to make this more of an option potentially for players to go and grab. So what Kabam have done is they've removed some champions, they've removed a lane, and they've removed other stuff, which you can see on screen right now. So this is how it looks like. But what they haven't done is taken down the extent of paths or energy consumption that is normally associated with it. A good example of which, in the amount of champions you would face off against, you'd have to do that 3 times, and that could be an excessive energy spend. If you went on what says the left turn, the right turn, and go straight, you'll be going against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, 7 and 8, including the boss being Ultron. So what Kabam have done is they've reduced that down by 2 champions because in game at the moment it's case like we've got Gambit here, that's 1, Black Widow, that's 2, Archangel, that's 3, Guillotine, that's 4. Sentinel, that's 5, and finally Mr. Fantastic, that's 6 champions to go up against. But yeah, I was noticing over the weekend as well, because I was preparing for this video and how I wanted to kind of cover it, present it, and kind of like come to a thought and opinion on it. My good friend Billy D posted the same thing, but also kind of like made a mention about like the wasted spaces, which you can see on screen right now. This is from his screen, about like, well, why have we got so many kind of like dead space to travel? And it's like it's ultimately it's wasted energy for the player, which is a bit sad really, to kind of go like, well, couldn't you just kind of like butt that out to the next one the same way that some of the lower ones do. And I don't know if Kabam have this habit of doing this, I don't know if they're going away from this habit, or this habit is an ongoing thing where they go, oh yeah, you can still... It's not like the tier 4 or tier 2 where it's like one tile, one kind of champion, one tile, one champion, and then there's the end boss. It's like, no, we've got to put the energy in, so it's got to like feel like it costs you, which is a bit of a downside, especially for getting things like tier 4 basic, and as well the kind of structure of going, well, you want to feel like you're getting a good chunk of tier 4 basic for the energy spend, and that's again, it's like it's another currency. It's not units are one currency, but it's like as well energy is a currency as well as to what players spend to what they get out of it. Investment and that is like an investment thing. So yeah, it's definitely disappointing to kind of like see that the paths haven't been removed and how that could have been saved. Like there, like what I think it was, is that how much energy I think that's how much energy that Billy's pointing out is like that's like 2, 4, 6, 8 energy lost in that gap there, which is just like that's a pretty like it's on screen right now, like from the game. It's like it's a pretty big amount of energy to lose, where you kind of think like, well, I could use that kind of quite nicely elsewhere, especially if it had been 2 energy a gap. I suppose it could be worse, it could be 3, but still, it's like, well, why can't you just butt that up and kind of reduce the autocomplete cost from that? Very odd. But I kind of feel that's something Kabam need to kind of like address. I'd say I want to commend Kabam on the work they've done with the Catalyst Clash, I want to say. Man, honestly, like, as well, that's another thing. I'm trying to commend Kabam, but like, man, you got to sort out the speed of your servers because they are ass at the moment. But yeah, Catalyst Vault. The Catalyst Vault, I must admit, is brilliant, and I do commend Kabam on that. But when it comes to ISO Field, it's trash, and Proving Grounds is only good up to a certain point. The Expert one still needs work because it's like 50 energy spend is still ridiculous. I mean, with an autocomplete, that is. And even when you go for it, like you got it on your auto, so you go into auto, not like auto complete, but the auto running of the fight. it just needs to something more needs to be done with Proving Grounds. Kabam Zero would be good. When Kabam Zero comes back from paternity leave, I think this would be a good thing to kind of like go and tackle. And as I said, like the idea of, well, let's try and put out a tier 2 alpha proving ground or some, like loads of new proving grounds or kind of like alpha fields, whatever you need to do in order to create a quest within this. For alpha, but also something that's for proving grounds for tier 5 basic, but also redo all of this and improve it in some sort of way that kind of gives value to players for their energy spend, and also the time of doing it and the volume that you get back from it as well, the tier 4 fragments, because I'm sure that players would kind of like not want to grind expert that much. Yes, it's great that they've removed a path on it, but still, the volume of tier 4 basic, I don't know if it really comes in with the current meta. But that's something for the comments section. Do you feel like there's more overhaul that needs to be done with the proving grounds in order to come up with your current expectations as a player? Be interesting to find out, and there might be kind of like a part 2 to this video as we kind of look at other kind of like options as well. But yeah, that's been it. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure as well check out some other content located on screen right now, and I will see you in the next one. Toodles, everybody, toodles.